With an increasing shift in the organizational setting and culture, it's imperative for businesses to build practices that help manage processes efficiently to encourage employee contribution and commitment. To further discuss and understand the role of HR in changing times, Society for Human Resource Management India organized its 3rd annual conference, a platform that empowers and enables HR personnel across industry verticals to stay in line with the continuously evolving HR industry.
It has been said that most important values of any profession are shared knowledge, shared experience, passing along what we know from person to person and generation to generation, and that is true of HR. And at this conference, we have the opportunity to just do that. So this conference is an important platform for HR professionals in our part of globe to connect. But we have also come here to be inspired. A recent report said the role of HR will change more in next 5 years than it has changed in past 30. This means we will need to be in constant learning mode to be effective in our profession. We will need to be motivated, engaged, and knowledgeable to do our jobs well and create workplaces and enable our organizations to thrive. Finally, we have all gathered here in Gurgaon to grow, individually and collectively, as people or professionals. We must take back with us the things we learned this week, the connections we make, and the inspiration we get, and that is how we all will grow. Let us endeavor to leave this conference better, more connected, and more ready to lead.
So let me ask you a question. What actually is service? It's a word that we've all heard for a long time. We use it very commonly, but do you have a good definition? Do you actually have a meaning for the word service that makes sense to you? So here's what I want you to do. When I say go, you and your partner are going to turn to each other, and at exactly the same time, you're going to share your word-for-word definition of service. Ready? On your mark, get set, go. Service is... How many of you found that you and your partner actually said to each other exactly the same words? I got 4 people. How many of you and your partner, you meant the same thing, but you just used different words? Yeah, now a lot of hands go up, right? Guess what? For the people inside your company, that is a problem. Because if one supervisor says, we need to meet customer expectations, and another supervisor says, no, we should exceed customer expectations, is one of them right and the other one wrong? That's confusing for your staff. We need a better definition of what are we talking about with this word service. So let's build one together. Step 1. Would you agree with me that service requires that somebody do something? Yes or no? Yeah, you gotta do something. So the first part is this. Let's read it together. Service is taking action. Good. Now, what is the purpose of the action? It's to do something that somebody else will want, need, appreciate, benefit from, something that somebody else will value. So let's read this together. Here we go. Service is taking action to create value for someone else, unless it is a self-service situation. Does this definition make sense to you? Yes or no? Does it describe the HR profession? Yes or no? Does it describe every profession? It does, right?
I remember in Imphal once going into, and this was my first lesson in public health, going into a hospital, and there was a boy there with some tubes tied up, and I said, what's with this boy? Boy meaning young man. And he said, look, he's in the last stages of AIDS. And I said, what will happen to him? They said he will die within about 2 or 3 weeks, unless, and I said, what unless? He said, unless we have money to provide him with ART, antiretroviral treatment, which had just come into the market. I couldn't quite explain the feeling that went through me that this is public health. You can spend a lot of time saving individual people and feel as though you're God, but public health is about saving populations. It was a hard way of learning that. Some of the learnings that I picked up along this journey, and some of these are things that were within me, others I learned directly from the sex worker. So the first is what I would call a frame of reference. We think of most things, at least I did, in a certain frame. You thought of it as to the level you want to reach in your job, as to how much money you want to earn. If you remove those frames and you think beyond, you will arrive at that question, what if you didn't do this? What if your frame of reference was something else? The sex workers' frame of reference, when the women came through in these community groups, became very different. They were no longer helpless, marginalized women. They were women with a certain power. They were empowered. They came together. They showed a kind of heroism that was there because they changed their frame. The second thing I would say is I can only use the words bigger than you. What you have to do, at least I found, has to be much bigger than you. You may think a McKinsey career is big, it's actually very small. If you have a different frame, you will think of bigger solutions.
Everyone is talking about what's the next big idea, right? And the next big idea can only come from people. Hence, an organization which is able to attract best of the talent, is able to retain and manage them well and show them the career path, stands a better chance compared to others to succeed in this corporate world.
People are the main assets. So if you have to keep these folks happy and engaged with your client and with the work, you need to make sure that they are taken care of. And human resource management plays a key role in making sure that the resources who are all human are kept comfortable, pleased, and happy.
Ultimate byproduct for the industry, ultimate bottom line and the top line for the industry is going to be your human capital. And an organization which is able to engage, attract, and retain the best of the talent is going to see a success factor.
Focus, ideate, innovate, enable. Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.
Multiple sessions were organized to provide in-depth knowledge on various topics. A panel titled Transforming the Future of Work in Technology World was hosted, where experts discussed how trends in technology impact workers and can change the future of work.
Elaborate for us on how the latest trends in HR technology, such as social, mobile, cloud, analytics, and unified talent, will impact workers across the spectrum and ultimately alter the future of work. Who would like to begin?
Haiti. So there are two things. One is what kind of experience we're going to give to the workforce, or what kind of work experience we're going to give in terms of what employees want and how organizations can look at employees as a customer, not from a consumer perspective. If I go to maybe a Zomato to look at the ratings of the restaurant, and if I go to a TripAdvisor and look at the ratings of the hotels, can I look at learning the same way? Can I look at learning which is like rated by other peers? And if I take this learning course, can I take other learning course? Can I go in terms of my portal and look at what are the ratings available? So that's what we call as consumerization. And that's happening in the enterprise. All these things basically are the vectors where talent needs to be managed now.
And Vikram?
I'll take you through a little bit of a journey in painting three worlds of work, and therefore what are the implications in these worlds for HR. So the first world is the world of blue, and I'm going to reference a study by a competitor, PwC. And I really like the work because some of it relates to my own experiences. The world of blue, as they define it, is the world of large mega corporations. Artificial intelligence, human and robotics, the way they interface. What does it mean for HR? We set up our robotics plant in Tata Motors, where one line was completely, the paint line was completely robotics. Now, I think human beings had a challenge to meet, how do we meet the productivity of the robots? So I think policies, you got to think, how are you going to look at robots in your workplace? The second world, which we all believe, many of us, is the green world. Eco-friendly companies. The green companies will operate differently. What will HR resemble? If in the first part, in the blue economy, the HR was more like a finance, real-time support, here HR is more like CSR. We are picking projects, we are volunteering, people are doing secondments, they are doing what's right for the community, a lot of different things, some of it even I can't imagine and express. And therefore, let me quickly move to the world which all of us fantasize about. The orange world is all about skill is king, personal brands matter. We will not be employing employees. No company will be employing 1,000 employees. They'll be employing 1,000 skilled vendors. So what's the nature of the beast? What does HR become in a place which is orange, which is networked, where nobody is an employee? The role of HR, I believe, will be that of tendering, purchase, managing contracts. We will be enforcing contracts in HR. Why? Because I declared I was a very skillful person in HR, but when it actually came to delivery, I was not able to deliver. There's a performance contract. Just like vendors are pulled up for non-delivery, I think we can expect free agents and e-lancers to be pulled up. So that's the world of orange.
So three different types of organizations that you can classify your organization and also look at where you want to be. And it doesn't necessarily have to be one or the other. It could be some combination. Very interesting. Dr. Sen, tell us some stories.
Facebook, Twitter, or an internal social media can create intimacy, where people can cut across hierarchical positions and distances and spatial distance and talk to each other as if they're close to each other. But the fact remains, in an organization, how does it make sense? If an HR can promote such a culture where people can talk with freedom and choice, I think we create intimacy, and that's the primary role.
Think down the road, gentlemen, 15, 20, 25 years. What is our grandchildren's workplace? What will that look like?
My view is they'll be takers for all the three worlds. And today I'm going to stay focused on the three worlds for a minute. Not that I'm stuck on them. And yet there will be a lot of e-lancers, freelancers who will choose the orange world saying, I want freedom. They'll be working for 4 companies on a contract, and each of them equally fulfilling, and yet not really striking roots in one place. And they're happy doing that.
Very good. Anyone else?
Some 5 years back, when I went to REC Nagpur, now called NIT Nagpur, I went to the room where I was actually in my final year, and I met a young boy who was around 44 kilos. But one thing struck me when he said, sir, where do you work? I said, Hindustan Petroleum. He said, when did you join? I said, 1984. I passed engineering, I joined that. He said, my God. So the world is changing. People will not work that long. Second is, many of these people, youngsters, would go back to school. Because if continual learning is an agenda item which is critical for remaining valid, people will have to go back to school, formal school.
Imagine a workforce which will have a mix of contractual workforce, regular workforce, digital workforce, social workforce working out of the beach and actually doing some of the work. But what is important is this workforce the challenge that HR will face is, how do you get all of this workforce connected to a common vision of doing what the organization wants to do? While that becomes the challenge. How would you communicate with this workforce? How will you integrate this workforce? How will you talk to a workforce which probably is not working in teams, is probably much more virtual than it has been? So I think that's the second construct which will change. The third is a way to coexist.
We still believe the capability maturity model in terms of from an automation of a module to a process to a platform. That's a journey everybody will take. Depends on which organization you belong in. It could be a blue collar or an orange. That's a journey which will be. And the second journey, what we believe is when people have looked this as HR as a platform, as a service, I think that's what the second wave would be, from where people will go to a marketplace and look at technology which complement what the investments in technology already has happened.
I think a conference like this gives a great forum and platform for connecting and to frankly inspire each other's and each other's organizations by what they're doing and what the organizations are setting out to do. And growth is inevitable as a result of that.
When you connect with people, frequently you get inspired by new ideas. And when you leave here, you grow as a result. It's a wonderful theme.
If you are not able to see somebody, unlikely you'll be connecting with them. So more and more offices are being designed so that accidental meetings take place. And through connection comes inspiration, innovation, and growth.
Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable. Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
The conference also hosted a prestigious award ceremony to honor and recognize organizations that have become a leader in people practices. The award in the category for excellence in diversity and inclusion went to Aegis. The award for excellence in HR analytics went to Genpact India. The runner-up in excellence in HR analytics was CMC. The award for excellence in social media campaign went to OSS Cube Solutions. The next category of award was excellence in community impact, and the winner in this category was Hewlett-Packard. The award for the Academic Institute of the Year went to the Narsi Monji Institute of Management Studies. The award for excellence in human resource South Asia and the Middle East went to Unilever Sri Lanka. The award for excellence in developing the leaders of tomorrow went to Citigroup India. The runner-up for this category was HPCL. And the award for employer with best employee health and wellness initiative went to Procter & Gamble India. And if that wasn't enough, the conference ended on a humorous note when TV anchor Cyrus Brocha left the audience breaking out in laughter and got them to share their ideas about the funny side of HR.
So what does this HR mean, sir?
Human resources.
Please get out. You brought me here and this is your answer. What do you think, we are back in the conference? Do you have the authority to fire him?
Yes, I will.
On any personal hygiene, touching you too much, anything. Because look, only in Delhi, the shoulders are touching, nobody cares.
Yeah.
In Mumbai, so shoulders are touching, they'll sit on each other's lap because we have even less space. Much more different environment. Sir, you're wearing a blazer and you've got a medal. So does this mean you have outlived your own company?
Maybe, not really. Not really.
Sir, my question to you is, what is HR for the layman, people like us? You know, I know everyone is scared of this term. We've become very Americanized last 5 years, and you know they drink with us on the night before and in the morning to give that pink slip. But what does HR mean?
It's all about people.
What is this, Miss India? HR ka matlab human resource. It's all about people. Let's hug. What is wrong with the HR? Okay, I've done some more research and I want to find out about terms in HR because you guys again can help us through this. And I'm sure you're dealing with this all the time. I just want you to translate what they mean, okay? Shall we come to the more expensive seats? Sir, how are you?
Very good.
What's your name?
Rajesh.
Okay, the question to you is, you've heard this before. When HR says salary as per industry standards, what do they mean?
Don't ask for too much.
Very good, very good. I've written it down as my boss is cheap and we can't pay you, but we can't write that in the ad. Fair enough? Almost accurate? Okay. Let's meet some ladies. Hello.
Hi.
Are you in HR? Obviously you are.
Yes.
What's your designation?
Assistant manager.
Assistant manager. Okay, for you this is the one. The question is, well, HR gets this. Freshers may apply as an ad. Freshers may apply. What does this mean?
Okay.
When you guys come up with things like freshers may apply, what does it mean?
Freshers pass out from college.
Again, Miss India answers. Again, straightforward. No. What does it really mean? Freshers may apply. Let's ask your colleague. Hello? Yeah, it looks like a wedding ad to her because she's smiling and blushing.
Competition word is going to phase out, I believe. The new word would be collaboration. We all need to coexist and create space for each other.
The more that venues like this allow for the HR field to grow, the better it is for corporations and then the general population after that.
Our association with SHRM is because what we believe is the HR professions truly require these kind of platforms where they engage, they grow, and they become an inspiration for each other in terms of what the best practices and what the best solutions have been deployed in the market.
Overall, pretty happy with how it's shaping up. Year on year, the platform is growing. I wish the platform and SHRM all the very best.
Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.